Well, hello there. Welcome to our little shop. Today we've got another one of these little amp stories. We have a reissue Fender Deluxe Reverb amp that the customer called me, said that he was having issues with it. He's playing, the volume dropped. He decided to try to figure out what was going on with it himself, so he bought a set of tubes and put in it, and then he had no volume at all. So let's spin this around here. Let's take a look at the back of it, and we're going to get into this. So nothing really special back here to talk about. He did include all these old tubes. I'd ask him to do that. So like I say, volume dropped on it. Changed tubes. Now it has no volume. So we're going to tear into this and see what we've got. Okay, first thing I always check is fuse. It's actually the right value and not blown. We didn't even fire this up. Let's see what we got here. Okay, 12X7, 12AT7. Okay, that was the wrong place. X7 there. Those should be reversed. Another 12AT7 there in the reverb return and mix. That's supposed to be a 12X7. Okay, tremolo tube is okay. It's 12X7. And the phase inverter that's supposed to be a 12AT is a 12AX. Okay, let's finish taking this apart. Okay, I got over here and noticed something that I didn't notice earlier. I was pulling the screws out for the chassis. I noticed something here looked a little funny. And what we've got is, we've got a GZ34 rectifier tube here that's supposed to be here. And your two 6V6s are supposed to be here. So we have no rectifier tube. This is why he has no sound now at all. Okay. So I'm going to continue to pull this chassis out because something else happened before this. But this is what I've said. You know, guys will have a problem and they'll buy an entire set of tubes and maybe create another problem. Now, this guy did this by accident. Of course, some vendor was more than happy to sell him a full set of tubes for this amp. So, what I'm going to do is actually pull all these tubes out, put the original tubes back in to get back started ground zero, and then see where we are. And we have all the original tubes back in it. So we're going to see what happens here. A little perusing, I see first thing here that we have one of our screen resistors is burnt for one of the 6V6s. That probably shut that 6V6 down. Usually the case. But what I was wanting to do here was fire this up and check our voltages. I was willing to bet that the phase inverter plate load resistors were burnt, but I see that the factory's upgraded those here to a much bigger version that they used to use, so that's not an issue. But that was a common thing with these. So we've got a hint here that one of the output tubes is bad. So let's see what we find out. Alright, well, this is a little bit of an odd situation. I expected to find a low voltage on this resistor. That's our screen resistor. It's a 470 ohm screen resistor. It should be roughly about 320 volts here, which there is. on both of them. And then this should go to the screen for that tube. This one looks good. It's 320 volts. This one, negative 26.14. So what I find really suspicious is that's exactly the same voltage as our bias. So, I've hardly ever seen a tube short from the screen to the grid. It's possible, but I'm more inclined to believe that something's happened to the bottom of this board. So, here we go. Spelunking we will go. This board's got to come out, got to discharge the amp, so I'll be back. Well, we seem to have lucked out here. I don't see any damage over in here on the board. So we're going to get these resistors out and get them replaced. I'm going to upgrade those to 2-watt resistors, as they should be anyway. Then we'll carry on. Well, we have those resistors out. You can actually see a little burnt line here where this one resistor fried. It is wide open. You can actually see it looks pretty nasty. The other one checked good, but we're replacing both those because we're replacing that size resistor with this size resistor, which is what should be in it to start with. So I'm going to go ahead and desolder these. You can see I actually have the legs standing up straight here where I've already clipped them. So I can desolder them and pull them out the back side of the board without damaging the traces on the board. These boards are a little fragile, so we're going to try to get out of here without doing any more damage than necessary. I'm thrilled that the board wasn't damaged from before. So we're just waiting for the iron to warm up. Before I get this put back together here, before I got the board back in and get this lead fastened back down here, I wanted to show you, if you look really close here at these two resistors, it's kind of funny how they fit the holes in the board perfectly, almost like it was made for them before someone decided to use a resistor half that size. Anyway, just a theory, just saying. Alright, we're back together. We've got it powered up here. Let's see what we've got. On our plate we have 378. These are going to be a little bit low because I do have a bulb on it as a current limiter. Screen is 376. Minus 30 bias. Let's go ahead and check this other tube socket. 378 plate. 377 screen. Minus 30 bias. Okay. Well, I would say it's almost time to put some tubes back in. That's why the voltages were a little higher over here than they were previously. I have the outputs out for the time being. Well, we seem to be up and running. We did have one bad 6v6 in the original set. So luckily he had bought a set of tubes. So luckily for him they were matched and all. So we're going to continue on with the rest of the amp. I'm going to look the rest of it over, see if it's got any noisy preamp tubes. Probably got to do some lead dressing. This is way wrong. So is this, we can actually probably quiet this amp down a little bit more and get rid of some more noises. But I think we got his main problem figured out. We've got him biased up here about 22 milliamps per tube. When I first fired it up, it was 35. Of course, different tubes than it was in it to start with. So, but we're going to carry on. So, hopefully you can hear this. A couple little gremlins here. Hear that? No, that's not a cell phone. It's way over there. Yeah, I believe this is probably a lead dress issue. We've got rid of some of it. And no, that is not the tremolo. Because it is turned off and I've got the foot switch in it. Okay, the noise is coming from the second preamp stage. So let's get this one back in there. Because when we pull the first tube out, the gain doubles on the second one. There, with a little lead dressing up here, I got rid of all that. Rules still apply on the Fender amps with the heaters up in the air like this. You want all the leads against the chassis as much as you can. This one and this one's a little short, their cathode anyway, so it really doesn't care. Your big ones you got to worry about are your grids and your plates. But that amp is actually cranked right now. No noises or anything. No little sporadic noises. So I think we've got this guy taken care of. I've checked all these tubes out. All these preamp tubes seem to be pretty good. So we're going to bolt this back together. Have to put a wire tie up here to hold these bias wires down. And get this back together. Alright, well, we've got it all back together. I replaced a few of these preamp tubes here that were a little noisy or iffy. He had the others that he'd purchased, so I used them. Put his new output tubes in. Actually had to have those because he did lose one of the others. That's what the original failure was. I've actually put a set of damper rings on these tubes that he had. This one actually has a little bit of rattle to it. This is another reason I tell people do not buy tubes to put in your amplifiers that you bring to a shop. If this amp had been in here and I had found a noisy tube that I've got, I would have set it aside to send back, pulled out another set. In fact, in combo amps, I always use the double mica spaced JJs, just for this reason. Now, unfortunately, he'd already bought the tubes, so we had to use what he had, unless he wants to pay for more tubes. So, we're going to fire this thing up and prove to you guys that it actually worked, that have to see that. So, I'll be back in a minute. Oh, and for the guys that say, please show us the tubes glowing, there you go. There's reverb. There's the tremolo. So, there you go, it works. This is another prime example of what I'm talking about with this poor guy actually tried to do the best thing he could on his own and bought a set of tubes which cost him about $160. He told me where he got them from. One of the previous tubes had caused a problem to take out this resistor. That was his whole problem. Now, like I said, I'm not giving him a hard time. He did the best he could to try to take care of it within his means and not have to take it someplace. So, but anyway, it ended up here. So, I see this all the time. People spend a whole lot more money on tubes than it takes to fix the amplifier. So anyway, there you go. There's another amplifier taken care of, ready to go. He wanted it for this weekend if he could get it, so it's ready. An hour, some tube swapping, 2 resistors, and some cleaning up, some lead dressing. Hunted down some problems he didn't even know he had. So anyway, till next time, play nice.